As the wind lashed against the salt-laden waters of the Aegean, the 10th year of the Trojan War raged on mercilessly. The Achaeans, camped before the mighty walls of Troy, had plundered countless cities and divided the spoils. Yet now a calamity had fallen upon this great army, the wrath of Apollo. The god drew his silver bow and rained down deadly arrows from the heavens. For 9 days, warriors and beasts alike succumbed to a death as relentless as the plague. Cries of agony echoed through the camp, and the soldiers perished one by one. No one could stop this curse. The prayers of the priest Chryses had brought Apollo's fury upon them. His daughter Chryseis had been claimed as Agamemnon's prize. Yet when the father humbly pleaded for her return, the proud king spurned and humiliated him. Thus Chryses called out to Apollo, "O god of the silver bow, if you have ever heeded my offerings, unleash disaster upon the Achaeans." And the god answered. On the 10th day, Achilles, in sheer desperation, gathered the army. The greatest seer among the Greeks, Calchas, stepped forward with trepidation to reveal the cause of Apollo's wrath. He declared that King Agamemnon must release Chryseis and offer 100 cattle in sacrifice to appease the god. But the arrogant Agamemnon refused to do so without taking another prize in return. These words set Achilles' blood ablaze. "Your greed knows no bounds, Agamemnon," Achilles roared. "We shed the most blood for victory, yet you always claim the greatest share. I will not submit to this injustice." But Agamemnon went even further. "I will take your prize, Briseis, and all shall see that the power of a king is absolute." These words drove Achilles to madness. His hand reached for the hilt of his sword, his eyes burning with fury. At that moment Athena descended like lightning before him. Her gaze shone like the stars, her voice rang with calm authority. "Do not draw your sword, Achilles. Be patient. The gods will reward you. Let time claim your vengeance." Trembling with rage, Achilles unclenched his fists, but his fury did not fade. He turned his piercing eyes toward Agamemnon. "Your army will fall before the walls of Troy. And when that day comes, you will beg for me, but I will not come." He swore. The honor of the great warrior had been trampled. Agamemnon's men arrived and took Briseis away by force. Achilles withdrew to the shore and cried out to the heavens, "Mother, O Thetis, help me. Go to Zeus, plead with him to bring ruin upon the Achaeans, so Agamemnon will regret his folly." The sea churned, the waves foamed, and from the depths Thetis arose. Seeing the sorrow in her son's eyes, her heart ached. "I will go to Zeus, Achilles. I give you my word." And so Thetis ascended to the peaks of Olympus. Standing before the mightiest of gods, she pleaded, "O Zeus, lord of the storm clouds, grant my son his due. Let the Achaeans suffer defeat before Troy until Agamemnon learns his worth." Zeus heaved a deep sigh. This war had wearied even the gods, but he owed Thetis a great debt. Slowly, he bowed his head in agreement. As storm clouds gathered atop Olympus, the mortals below felt the shifting of fate. The wrath of Achilles would alter the course of war, and death was drawing near to the gates of Troy. Night had fallen over the peaks of Olympus like a heavy black shroud. While the gods slumbered in deep rest, Zeus furrowed his brow. A storm raged in his chest, a single question echoing in his mind. How could he honor Achilles while dooming the Achaeans to disaster? The answer emerged from the shadows. He summoned ominous Dream. Like a whisper on the wind, Dream drifted through the darkness and slipped into Agamemnon's barracks. The king lay in deep sleep, his face marked with the weariness of a warrior. But Dream took the form of a trusted friend. wise Nestor, and leaned close, whispering Zeus's decree, "Arm your men. Troy is yours." Agamemnon awoke with a jolt, his heart pounding. The words had struck him with the force of a thunderclap, tearing through the night. Without hesitation, he donned his golden embroidered armor and strode toward the Achaean ships. His voice rang out, summoning his commanders. As they gathered, Agamemnon reminded them of Zeus's promise. Troy would fall. And yet 9 years had passed, and the city still stood. Then suddenly he shouted, "Let us turn back! Let us go home, to our fatherlands." Zeus's words were a lie. His cry struck the warriors like an arrow to the chest. They wavered like the raging sea, turning toward the ships. Chaos erupted, but Athena would not allow it. At Hera's command, she appeared, her eyes blazing like fire. She found Odysseus and spoke with a voice that shook the air. "Will all these men have died for nothing? Will you leave Helen in Priam's hands?" A fire ignited in Odysseus's blood. He knew this was a divine message. The Achaeans could not abandon the war. Immediately he sprang into action, moving from ship to ship, commanding the soldiers to stand down. Yet among them, one man, a hunchback named Thersites, raised his voice in defiance. He cursed Agamemnon, denouncing his greed for all to hear. Odysseus had heard enough. Raising his golden scepter, he brought it down hard on Thersites' back. The man gasped in pain, tears welling in his eyes. The camp fell silent. Then Odysseus roared, "Remember, 9 years ago Calchas prophesied that Troy would fall in the 10th. To abandon the war now is to defy Zeus himself." Nestor stepped forward, turning to Agamemnon. "You are the leader of this army. We cannot let division break us. Let us strike once more and end this war." Agamemnon's face was dark with fury. "Zeus gives us nothing but suffering," he thundered. "We spilled blood over a woman, Achilles and I. But today may be the war's final day. Attack." Before battle, the Achaeans made offerings to the gods. The blood of slaughtered cattle soaked into the earth. Prayers rose to the sky. As the meat sizzled over the flames, the soldiers ate their last meal, each one knowing that before the sun set, many would fall and much blood would be spilled. At the break of dawn, the Achaeans assembled on the fields of Scamander. Zeus's gaze fixed upon Agamemnon. He made him mighty, towering, unstoppable, invincible. But Troy was not idle. Zeus sent his messenger, Iris, to the Trojans. She warned Priam and Hector. The battle had begun. Hector gathered the champions of Troy, Aeneas, Pandarus, Sarpedon, and countless others, men who did not fear death, who armed themselves to defend their city. As the first warriors stepped onto the battlefield, the earth trembled. Homer turned to the gods and asked, "O Muses, shall I name each warrior who fought?" And that day, the waters of Scamander ran red with blood.